Thank you for joining me today. Now, so that you don't miss out on any of my updates, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I also like hearing from you, so go ahead and like and comment. My guests are always exciting and have great things to share with us. What I do on this show is I have one guest and I ask them one question. Then they get the floor. So here we go. So thank you once again for joining me on The Takeaway. I'm so glad to have you with me here today. And I'm glad to have Corinne Gerken with me to have a discussion about a few things about ONPASSIVE. Corinne, welcome.
Hi, thanks, Tara. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you. So it says from Puerto Vallarta, but you're not actually there right now. You've come home.
Well, no, I'm actually in transit.
Ah, there we go.
I started early living my ONPASSIVE dream as to starting to do the travel. So I'm going from Puerto Vallarta. I've been in Puerto Vallarta for 3 years. And I met a guy down there. So going up to Canada, we're going to travel across Canada. Actually, we're going to start in Quebec.
That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, he bought a van. And so we're just going to take off, be a couple nomads and go across the country and see things. But I stopped in Denver to see my daughters and her family.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'll actually be leaving Thursday and getting Quebec on Friday. So it's an exciting week.
Oh, I guess so. That's going to be right on. I like it. I like it. Well, so the thing about it is when we discuss ONPASSIVE, there are so many variables. And of course, with the takeaway, I always have a question for my guests. Now, ONPASSIVE, like you said, you began, ONPASSIVE is time freedom and financial freedom for its founders because it is going to be able to grow our wealth in such a way that, as we've been saying, we have bushels and bushels of apples. So something that I thought was very interesting when you and I talked is you had mentioned that, okay, with time freedom and financial freedom come responsibilities. Now, I would love it if you would talk to us about that. So take it away.
Okay. Well, first, I guess legally, I should say I'm not a financial advisor. So anything I say are just my own thoughts and my own feelings.
Exactly.
So go check out what your state codes and country says for you and your heart. I think that's the first place we really have to look is what does our heart tell us to do and where does our heart tell us to go? And when we follow that and we do it correctly, we will be responsible stewards of whatever gifts come our way. And that's the key to living a good life and sharing. There's a lot of discussion, when people talk about money, because people say, well, if you spend too much over in here, you're being selfish and you could help so many people over there.
Right.
But I'm kind of thinking the way I'm kind of figuring is do a percentage. Do a percentage. If I bring in an extra $200 that month, I give a certain percentage to my charity or to the homeless or however I feel like giving. And the rest is mine to enjoy without a guilt complex, without saying, oh, I should have, or I wish I would have, because we all go back. Oh, I had that money last month and it might be tight this month. Pay your bills first, but if you budget and you've got your bills covered and you can make plans and you travel. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. And do your research, I would say, though, on the charities that you give. That's one thing I have noticed over the years. A lot of times people think they're giving and that the money is going to filter down to the people that need it. But do your research. That's all I'm going to say about that, because it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And there's so many, there's so many ways to help. If you want to give like a one-time gift, it helps a person out one time. Or if you want to save up, you want to create a foundation where it's a grant and it goes over and over and it lasts a lifetime. It's perpetual. with all the apples, with all the orchards that we're going to be giving and the apples falling, we could start different foundations or different grants, whether it's a girl from high school or a young boy who has had issues. I do see a lot of things go, and they're always talking about helping out the women, helping out the girls, helping out children. I see very few where they say, let's help the young men. Or
Right.
even an older man, because they have their struggles. It's, yes, takes two to get a girl into trouble, but it seems like the girl gets more of the attention. But the young boy is struggling too. And, if they're growing up with their own challenges, I think that's an area that needs to be addressed or paid attention to. There's so much that you want to give to everything or find a way to help, but
Indeed. Yeah.
so I think the foundations would be a good idea. And when
Yeah,
we get to that point.
yeah, yeah. That's really interesting because my husband and I have talked about that, and we have said how we need to start doing our research, talking to our accountant, trying to learn and understand about foundations and how to put them together. Because yes, you brought up the point, like they're an ongoing thing now.
Right.
So that's really impressive
Yeah.
to be able to be a part of something like that.
Yeah. I think, too, let's say if you have $10,000 and you give that to the foundation, or if you give that to a charity, they're going to lose it, and they're going to, or not lose it, they're going to spend it. It's going to be depleted. I don't mean lose it, but I mean, it's going to be depleted.
Yeah.
And then they're going to come back next year and they're going to request 10. But if you can create a foundation where it's every month, because I know a man who rescues children from the sex slave. And he says, if I knew how much I had coming in every month, so pledges are great,
Mhm.
because then they can budget.
Right.
But he says, like 1 month I'll have this much come in, and then I go, see, like it's like with businesses. When I had my own business, sometimes you'd have those fabulous months and you felt like, oh, you've just broken it and you're gonna run away. And then you go 3 months without any big jobs, and it's like, well, that just took that right back down to zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you can pledge, or if you make it a monthly donation, or like you said, like with the foundation, where they knew they were always going to have that a yearly income or something from you.
Mhm.
I think it just helps them budget it out.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And then you can go on and live your life, and you've known that you're doing it. Some people like to be hands-on. I think there's going to be a lot of
Yeah.
people that want to go over and see the wells being dug and do this. Okay. Me, I like that kind of stuff. I'll do it for a little bit, but I don't want to be that involved. So I would find someone else to manage it, type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
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 No, that makes sense, because with especially financial freedom or wealth, as you said, comes this responsibility. And the more I learn about ONPASSIVE, the more I hear the heart of Ash Mufarah, our CEO, coming through. And I truly believe, and I could be so wrong, this is just my opinion, but I believe from the start, when he was having the idea and the concept of ONPASSIVE, I truly believe that in his heart, he was thinking, oh, bless, and the crowdfunding and the blessing of other people and the helping of other people, and so it's coming through in the company that, okay, so let's say you have 7,500 bushels of apples. Well, how many apples are you going to eat?
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah. And how much apple cider can you make, or applesauce? You got to start giving this stuff away. Because I did live in an apple orchard actually when I was in California. Well, you go out and you pick the apples, and you're making apple butter, and you're making applesauce, and you're making apple pies, and eventually you get kind of tired of apples. I don't care how good they are for you. You just, and you have that abundance, you know, and so you're taking them up and you're giving them for gifts and you're making baskets up and here and here. And then I'd have people, they return the empty jars because they want more apple butter. So it's like,
That's a perfect analogy. So you really get that of, okay, I've got this abundance.
yes.
Now I want to give it out.
Yes.
And that is the responsibility right there of what are you going to do as far as managing this?
But it even goes better than that, because what I didn't teach them to do, I didn't teach them how to make the apple butter. So when their jar got empty, they would always bring it back to me to make more apple butter and give it to them. So that's the same thing with our charities, or, you know, with whoever we try to help. If we do the foundation, we're teaching them how to manage their money, or that it's going to be there and they can go from there with it.
Right.
Otherwise, they'll be knocking on your door.
Yeah. Well, there's a few companies that I'm involved in that do microfinancing, and you donate your money, and then they have people come in that take a loan for that money, and then they're responsible to pay it back at a very low fee. But to me, it teaches people. My husband had he was associate pastor for 5 years, and he always said, you need to not just give people a fish, you need to teach them how to fish. And to me, that's where it really helps expand the struggles that humanity is going through, expand it into a better direction.
Well, I think, you know, it's, if you raise a person up, you give them their self-worth, not saying that they're not worth anything, but in their own head.
Yeah,
it gives them a pride, and it gives them respect for themselves. If they're always being given and haven't had to work for what they have, they don't take the pride in it so much. They don't see the lifting. Giving people money, helping people out, is not just about giving them food or giving them clothes. It's also about building them up inside.
Yes.
And raising their spirit and raising their consciousness, because you raise their consciousness, you raise that next person's consciousness. And we all get into this ecosystem of being connected together and feeding each other in more ways than food on the table.
Yes.
And that's what Ash has done. I mean, what are we? Are we over 800,000? 800?
We are. Yes.
Yeah, way over. And that is what he has done with this whole group. I don't think when Ash started, because I joined in September 2018. And at that time, this idea, in my memory, this idea of ONPASSIVE was just, it was a concept. It was a concept, but it wasn't developed. It wasn't mature. It hadn't really developed yet. I would imagine if we looked at the videos from way back then and the videos today, you wouldn't even think you were talking about the same company.
Yeah.
You know,
evolution. Yes.
Yeah, because Ash and his team and the IT, and I'm sure Marty, you know, all of the big leaders, all the leadership council have all put 2 cents in and said, man, if we do this, we should go this way and we should create this. And it's just blossomed, because that's one good sign of a good CEO, which Ash is he listens to people.
Yes.
He listens and he hears, and then he finds people that can create that need.
Yes.
Not create, but to fill the need, to create what's needed to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, I would have to say, like in 2018, when I got in, it was basically just another one of those that I'm going to try something with, you know?
Yeah.
But then as it matured and it developed, and I think for me, it was when Marty, Dan, and Mike Alice got in, and they just started doing the videos, and they started explaining it so well. And they were watering that orchard every week,
Yes.
and they were fertilizing, and man, that's when the excitement, that's when I got infected with it more so. I really saw all the possibilities of where it was going. And
Right.
yeah, so there's a lot of people to thank for
Oh,
where I'm at right now. So
that's wonderful.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing, and you touched on that just earlier here about the person and the mindset. And I truly believe that sometimes we do forget that we're kind of like a three part, we're our body, we're our soul, and we're our spirit. So when touching other human beings, I think that is really important, that we come with that holistic attitude, right?
Yes.
And I think that's what I've been seeing in On Passive. That's what I've been seeing in, people like yourself and others in the 800,000 plus, is that they're looking at the very core. What is the heart of this? And,
Mhm.
just what you're sharing with us of being responsible. You don't give a child a huge amount of, say, money, because they don't know how to manage it.
Right.
And I think it's the same with us as founders, as we come in and we understand, as you're saying, the responsibility we have with what's going to be coming in for us. Let's reach out to humanity, and let's make changes where we can.
Yeah. And maybe it's baby steps at first, but
Exactly.
it doesn't matter. Or start a tradition. I just read, I picked up 3 books, and the lady, she uses a red mitten as the like the standard gift that gets passed along, that, and then on the inside they have the word believe, so when she gives them, it gives people hope, and it's something that a visual that they see in front of them all the time, just a little token that somebody's thinking about you, and there's somebody bigger thinking about you, but you have to open it up and let it come in too. So anyways, because I was thinking when I was reading these books, I thought that would be kind of cute to have a symbol like that symbolized something from On Passive, that would be easy to pass on to people that we help, or
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just an idea as I was reading these books. They were just a sweet series of encouragement.
Oh, for
So
sure.
yeah.
Well, and the possibilities could be endless, individually. I've talked often about a passion, and no one needs to have recognition to follow their passion, right?
Right.
It's just your thing, it's what drives you, so you go. So even what you're saying, I mean, this person came up with this concept, and it's affecting people, because here you are reading the book and being impacted by that. And who knows, I mean, people make business cards and hand them out with maybe
Yeah.
a gift card or a blessing, or and maybe they
The
come up.
only thing was, sorry,
No,
but the
go ahead.
thing with something like this is when I walk into the stores, or if I walk in, when I'm in Canada, I'm sure it's going to be cold. I'll probably see people with red gloves. In Puerto Vallarta, I never would have seen anybody with red gloves, but then going to Canada, I will. So now when I see people with red gloves, those stories are always going to come back, about the stories about helping and reaching out to somebody else.
Yeah.
And I'll always have a reminder if I get a little bit too selfish, too narrow-minded, because we tend to do that. We kind of get on our own little path, and we kind of forget, oh, maybe, I'm not doing quite as much as what I should, but those will be a visual reminder.
Exactly.
So I was trying to think, what is there something that we could do, like with the On Passive something? I'm sure there's very creative people out there that will come up with a lot of ideas. That would
Indeed.
be just something easy to pass on. And then when other people see it, it's like, yeah, there's an On Passive gift, or that's that was something that
Right. Yeah.
started here.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, that's just marvelous. Well, we're coming to the end of the show, and I love what you shared with us. Like, that has really gotten me thinking too, because often I've talked about, I want my time freedom. I'm still working, and I want to come to the end of that. I have ideas of my hubby and I buying an RV and traveling. There's places we want to go. And, so I think about my time freedom and my financial gain. But I love how you brought up and pulled it all together with responsibility. I will be responsible for what's in my heart to be doing and managing. So, wow, Corinne, thank you very much for sharing this stuff with us. This was really good.
Thanks, Tyra. It was nice to be here. Enjoyed the time. You made it very easy, so thank you very much.
Good. Well, again, thanks for joining me. And everyone, before I end, I want to be sure that you know to go to onpassive.com, which is our company website. There you're going to find everything about our products, about our CEO, our locations. I mean, it's all there, folks. We have blogs and everything. So please do take the time and check that out once you're done watching us. So once again, from Tyra, the takeaway, thanks for joining me. And Corinne, thanks for taking
Bye.
the time with us. Bye for
Bye.
now.
Thank you.